Well, hello, Jacob.
Hello, Carrie.
How are you?
Oh, I'm pretty great. I just read an excellent book that you recommended.
Oh, you just read it? Just now? Just finished?
Actually, to tell the truth, I was listening to the audiobook like 5 minutes before we called each other. But I had already read it before that.
And so what book is it? Let's talk about that.
The book is Anna and the French Kiss, and it's by Stephanie Perkins, and it was published in 2010.
It is a pretty good book.
Yes, you mentioned in the last episode that if someone reads this book and does not like it, then you cannot be friends with them, and you wish they were dead.
Yeah, so I'm sorry I put that on you before you read it,
Right.
Because that's a lot of pressure. The podcast would, obviously be over and you would be dead to me. But it turns out that my test is still accurate, and I knew you'd like it. So
Yeah. I have to say I really enjoyed it quite a bit, and I feel like we have a lot to say, and yes. So, excellent. We're going to talk about the book and the plot and the characters and everything, so if you don't like spoilers, you might want to pause it and read the book, which you should really read the book, and then come back. But if you don't care about spoilers, then just listen to it, and we'll try to be entertaining. Next episode, we're going to read The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman. From 1995, which is the first book in his Dark Materials series.
It's such a good series.
I feel like we've done a nice variety of kinds of books so far. They've all been pretty different.
I think so. I think, even the bad books have been fun to talk about. Yeah, it hasn't been all modern books. We've kind of run the gamut. So
yeah. Go us.
Yay!
If you have any comments or feedback or suggestions or questions, you can send them to podcast@loveyalikecrazy.com. And unless you say otherwise, we might read them on one of the upcoming episodes.
Yeah, so I love YA like crazy. I love this book like crazy. Jacob, I love you like crazy. Let's talk about a book.
Let's do it. I read that this was started life as a National Novel Writing Month book.
Oh, did it now?
Yeah, which is I don't know exactly why that's interesting to me, but it is.
Well, I am going to be writing something for National Novel Writer Month this upcoming November, just FYI.
Oh, cool.
I'm writing a YA book about, so our last book was Werewolves in Love, and we all know that there have been vampires in love. And so I was trying to think of what sort of monster hasn't been done before. And a friend of mine very generously gave me the idea of mummies. So I'm writing a super crappy, super cheesy, can't wait to write this motherfucking book, Mummy YA in love. It's going to be awesomely bad. I can't wait. Jacob has given me some ideas. A couple other friends have given me some ideas that I think are really going to make this book interesting at best. Maybe terrible. Maybe amazing. I hope it is better than Twilight.
Yeah.
I think it won't have as many grammatical errors, so there's that going for me. I don't know if it's going to be quite on the level of Shiver. We'll find out. I'm really stoked, y'all. So yeah, if I could write anything as good as Anna and the French Kiss for NaNoWriMo, I would probably pee my pants.
Sure.
I don't think that's going to happen. But the fact that she did it means that I can do it. So way to go, Stephanie Perkins. You're the best.
Yeah. I understand that if you don't want to show it to me, but I would be so psyched to read that.
Oh, you're so going to read it. It's going to be so bad. I don't have any high hopes for it because I'm sort of writing it to be a little cheesy. Not quite on the level of the Awoken parody,
Sure.
But I think, somewhere closer to Awoken than to Twilight, which was, trying to be, legit. I think I'm erring on the side of like a little silly.
Well, I think I think that I don't know a whole lot about the NaNoWriMo thing, but
yeah.
I mean, I feel like that's part of the point is just get it done. Like, don't worry about the quality so much. Just get it out there and get it finished, and then you'll have accomplished something.
Yeah.
And then you can work on it further if you want. But.
Exactly. It's like, hey, you've got a good outline now. You've got a 300-page outline. Fix it. And that's going to be the next step. But that's what I'm doing in November, and I can't wait. So
awesome.
If anyone wants to read the schlock that I produce when I'm done, just let me know. It's going to be bad. Yep. I'm selling it, aren't I?
You are. It's hard for me to imagine someone listens to this podcast who doesn't think, yes, I want to read that.
I know, right?
Send it along.
Hey. Anyway, Anna and the French Kiss is so good. There is Anna. There is Etienne. There is a French Kiss. There are other characters. They don't matter as much because it's Anna, and there's Etienne, and then there's a French Kiss.
Yeah.
It's good. 372 pages, published in 2010. Super quick read. 372 sounds like a lot, but it really is a super quick read.
I thought you were going to say, I give this book 372 stars.
I would give it 372 thumbs up. 3 thumbs up, y'all. I am really excited to talk about this book. It's one of my favorite YA books for reasons I'm not entirely sure, because I don't generally like romance or romantical things, even though a lot of YA books have, the will they, won't they get together. This is all romantical, and I love it.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, when I started rereading it, I was like, so why do I like this so much? That was like a big part of it.
And I think a lot of it is just that it's a sweet book. There's nothing really horrible that happens. It's well written. It's interesting. The characters are flawed, but not in a bad way. And it's a really sweet book.
Yeah. I was thinking about the whole character being flawed thing.
Yeah.
And part of it, I feel like, is that in, for instance, when we were reading Shiver, those characters were flawed, but I felt like the things that I thought were character flaws were not the same things the author thought was flawed.
They were just really dumb.
Yeah. But here, I think that's part of why, like the way that the book starts, I said, and I think that you said also, that when you read the first chapter, you're like, who is this person?
Yeah.
And then as you go on, you just sort of get to know her better and you appreciate it. But it starts out, she talks about how she doesn't know anything about Paris, and people kind of bragging about ignorance is something that I don't like.
Yeah.
And she seems kind of a little bit pretentious, and just complaining about having to go to Paris is itself.
And of course, yeah, you're like, oh, poor girl. You have to go to Paris for a year to go to a fancy school where.
Yeah.
But then later you get it.
Right. I remember that when she said that she thought "we" was spelled W-E. I was like, oh, come on, lady.
Nobody thinks that. It's like you're a 17-year-old woman. You're not 3.
Yeah.
You know how "we" is spelled.
Yeah.
But whatever. You know what? We're going to go with it. She's that sheltered, living in the big city of Atlanta, Georgia.
Yep.
So, however, I love her, and I love many, or if not most, of the characters in this book, and I think it's sweet. So that's what I've got. I love it. Let's talk about it.
Sure. Do you have a particular part of the book that's a favorite?
I do. I have a favorite where they're at point zero in France for the first time, and Etienne had taken her out to see Paris, where she's so afraid. She's in this, foreign country, and she's really afraid. And he's like, you know what? Fuck this shit. We're going for a ridey bye-byes. And he takes her out and, shows her cool shit in Paris. And she's finally like, oh, wait, I think I can do this. And she's at point zero in Paris with this very handsome, very short boy. And she stands on point zero and she makes her wish. And her wish isn't, oh, I hope this boy likes me. It's, I wish for whatever the best thing for me is. And I thought that was just a really interesting moment, because I don't think many people would have wished for, oh, I hope the best thing for me happens. They're like, oh, I really hope this cute boy kisses me. Or I want to get the fuck out of Paris, or I hope, I wish for something small, and she wishes for something huge, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. And then that whole thing where he gets her out of the school is kind of reversed at Thanksgiving when she gets him to leave his room.
Yeah. So she returns the favor when he needs it. So I think, that's also a really interesting, juxtaposition where, she's sheltered, she needs help to get out. And then when he's depressed, if he needs help getting out, she's there for him as well. The whole book is about, Anna. You're assuming that there's going to be some kissing in France because the title of the book is Anna and the French Kiss.
Uh-huh.
But I don't think the author makes I don't think she beats around the bush when we're figuring out who she's going to be kissing in France.
Oh, yeah, no. Etienne St. Clair is clearly, it's just a question of when and how they'll get together.
Yeah. And that's, it's not even a, will they, won't they, like, which happens in a lot of books, but it's a when, which I think is sort of, again, I come back to sweet. This book is so sweet for me. Whenever I'm sad, I'm like, oh, I'll need to read a Stephanie Perkins book because, those characters just sort of perk me up and make me happy.
Mm-hmm. And there's a whole thing, again, I shouldn't get back to it so often, but when I think about Shiver, like there's a large part of the book where they're sleeping in the same bed and, they have sex maybe 2/3 of the way through the book.
Yeah.
But there's a long time where the dude, the werewolf guy, is like, well, but how do I know if she actually is attracted to me? It's like, she is essentially telling you every time,
she gets naked with you. She's hanging out with you all the time. You're in the nudie pants. Like, I think she likes you, dude.
Right. So in this one, like, I feel like it's motivated really well of why they don't get together, even though from the very first moment they're clearly attracted to each other.
Yeah. He has a girlfriend, Ellie. She has this boy back home that she's interested in, Toph. And, they're both trying their best to be, and I think they really are good friends to each other. It's not like they're interested in each other just for the booty. I think they really do enjoy each other's company, which is another interesting thing that doesn't happen as often in YA or in other books or media where, not only are they, in a relationship, but they're genuinely best friends.
No, I agree totally. Thinking about the flawed character thing again.
Yeah.
I just like one of Anna's things is that she just kind of can work herself into a little bit of a tizzy. That's basically what's happening in the first chapter. I that's how I think about it, at least. Like, so. Actually, I'm going to talk about a different thing.
This needs some editing.
Yeah, well, that may be true. When she breaks up with Dave, and the reason that she breaks up with Dave is basically she goes to his room and his room is a total mess and she can't deal with it.
Yeah,
which is like, that's not. It's kind of a dumb reason to break up with him, but she needed to break up with him. Like,
she needed a reason, and she's like, oh, there's the convenient reason.
Right.
Sweet baby Jesus, there it is.
But I mean, like, Dave is kind of a jerk. One of the things I like, he's not a jerk exactly, but he's pretty immature.
Yeah, I think he's immature, and he's just not a good match for her. I think, they would make, good, like they are, just like friends in class that you could joke around with, but, not really outside of class or not outside of the dorms, they don't really have anything in common other than neither of them know French.
Yeah.
How do you go from there?
Well, many a long and satisfying relationship has been founded on a mutual ignorance of French.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's...
I think if I'd gone into his room and seen that, though, I probably would have been like, maybe not.
Yeah. Well, fair enough.
Just because, I think if I had dated anyone who had, nudie pics on the wall or, their friends peed in the shower, like, in front of me, I'm like, maybe this isn't the sort of guy I want to hang out with because he probably doesn't respect women in the way that I believe a woman should be respected. Like, not peeing in front of her.
Yeah.
Just FYI. I mean, really, anybody. I don't think you should pee in front of anybody, like, as a rule, unless you're into that. I think I just outed myself as not being into that. Oh, yeah.
Is your husband listening?
He is not.
But another thing that I liked, this is fairly early on, is like Matt, who she had been friends with, and then they had sort of gone out, and then they broke up because she was going to Paris. And so there wasn't really much going on there. And they were kind of dating by default, which I feel is also what was going on with Dave.
And it's a very high school thing to happen.
Right. You're like, well, people are dating. I kind of want to kiss somebody.
Let's date.
This guy is kind of cute.
It's cute enough.
Yeah. So then she finds out that Matt is dating, I forget her name, but someone that she hates.
Is it Sherry?
Sherry, yeah. And she had said that Matt was a bad kisser. That, like, she just ended up with drool all over her. Hilarious. So then she thinks to herself, I wonder if Matt is a better kisser now that he has someone more experienced to practice on. He was probably a bad kisser because of me. Oh, no, I'm a bad kisser. I must be. Someday I'll be awarded a statue shaped like a pair of lips, and it'll be engraved with the words, World's Worst Kisser. And Matt will give a speech about how he only dated me because he was desperate. But I didn't put out, so I was totally a waste of time. Because Cherry Milliken liked him all along, and she totally puts out. Everyone knows it. So I just appreciated that little ridiculous spiral. And also, like, I feel like Anna, you know, as it gets totally ridiculous, Anna is aware that she's being kind of ridiculous. But I just really enjoyed that kind of thing.
I don't know, maybe it's because I'm also pretty neurotic. Like, I can see myself going down that spiral. Like, easily just going from, you know... Well, for me, it's usually like, oh, I have a bruise. It must be cancer.
Yeah.
And so for her, it's, oh, he drooled on me. It must be me. I'm going to get a statue. It's going to be the worst thing in the world. So, Anna, I love you. I love you and your gap in your teeth. I love you and your bleach blonde stripe that makes you look like a skunk or la moufette.
Yeah.
So, Etienne. Etienne is born in the United States, raised in England, goes to school in Paris. He's short. He has a lovely accent. All the teachers love him. All his classmates love him. And obviously, Meredith, who is Anna's next-door neighbor in the dorms, loves him. So, of course, that makes things difficult for Anna. You know, not only does he have a girlfriend, but her closest female friend in Paris is also madly fucking in love with this little short dude. So, of course, there has to be barriers to the love. Otherwise, it would be a 3-chapter long book where, you know, Anna, I don't want to go to Paris. Chapter 2, I'm in Paris. Chapter 3, I met this boy and we're shagging.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, maybe that would happen in my life, but not in Anna's.
We're learning so much about you today, Carrie.
I know, but of course, like, I wouldn't have gotten Etienne because, you know, I'm not A-list. Let's just put it that way. I'm cute as hell, but I'm not A-list.
I don't know. I feel like he seems to enjoy a certain amount of sass.
Well, he does. But I'd probably end up with Dave. Let's just put it bluntly. I'd end up with him and just be like, yeah, your room's gross. Just come to mine.
Yeah. Dave seems like he's kind of fun.
He's probably fun, but that's what I would be stuck with when I'll be like, oh, look at that cute little guy. I got Dave. Anyway, I'm just going to babble.
Yeah, I'm not sure where to go with that one.
Let's just ignore the fact that I even said that.
Okay.
So let's see. We've got some other characters. We've got Josh, who's a junior, so he's going to be left behind while all of his friends graduate. Rashmi, who's his girlfriend. And let's see, there's Ellie, who's Etienne's girlfriend. Amanda, who sucks because she's just kind of a douche face. She doesn't like Anna just because she's got a stripe in her hair. Like, why does she not like her? Or she doesn't like her just because St. Clair is friends with her?
I mean, she is interested in St. Clair, and everyone except Anna is aware that, I mean, this also seems realistic to me, that you would be extremely attracted to someone, but decide that you shouldn't do anything about it, and think that nobody knows about it, but when in fact, it's really freaking obvious to every single person, with the possible exception of the person that you're actually attracted to. So Amanda definitely, I think there's some jealousy there, but also she just seems to be kind of unmotivatedly mean to Anna. And she does speak in italics, so that's a problem.
Yeah, there is that. See, and one of the other reasons I like St. Clair so much, and I've said this a bunch, is that he's short. As a short girl, I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. I really do. There aren't enough short dudes around. So, I'm 5'1.5", 5'2" on a good day, and so I was like, I can dig this shit. Not have to look up somebody's nose all the time. Mm-hmm. I'd like that. Plus, he's cute. Yeah, I'm 30-something, and I'm into this guy. Yep, it's true.
Sure.
I'm into him. I'd take him home.
He's got that French shrugging action.
He does. That slow French shrug. I didn't know that there was such a thing, but Anna tells me that there is, and Etienne seems to do it. So
I feel like I hear mentions of like Gallic shrugs in Agatha Christie books and things like that. So I guess it is a thing, even though I don't exactly understand what that would look like.
Okay, so going back to Anna and sort of her ignorance.
Yes.
One of the things that cracked me up is, her whole like, oh my God, but I'm American. I'm wearing sneakers thing. Americans are supposed to wear sneakers. And she's like, girl, what that chick's wearing? What are they? Sneakers. And that guy? Sneakers. But those are French sneakers, so it's okay. I just thought it was so funny that she was so self-conscious about being an American in Paris, where I'm like, you're at a school with other Americans.
Yeah.
Everyone at your school is American, and they're not freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be weird when someone sees you going into the American school with your Canada patch on your bag.
I remember that, later on, I think maybe during the Thanksgiving adventures, she puts on sneakers, and I'm like, haha, there it is. She understands
sneakers
now that she has that Canadian patch.
Now she can wear sneakers. But I don't know. I think, if I had gone to Paris as a high school teenager, as opposed to a, non-high school teenager, I suppose, I don't know if I would have been quite as ignorant as she is. The fact that she gets to this new country and stays home all the time, the fact that she is too afraid to leave the Latin Quarter, I would be like, I'm going to learn enough words to be able to go everywhere. I want to figure out the money situation, because she's halfway through the book. She's still having Etienne count her coins for her, because she's like, I know it's just 1, 5, and 10, but I can't seem to figure it out. Okay, girl. You're in calculus. You should be able to count to 5.
Right. Well, she practically starves herself because she doesn't want to order from the school cafeteria.
Yeah, and I was like, girl, point. Just point. Just point. Figure it out. This book was published in 2010, so smartphones existed. Look it up. Have a little voice inside your phone ask for eggs. But anyway, yeah. So some of those things were really frustrating about Anna, also sort of believable.
Yeah.
Because I'm not her, but I can totally see that happening to somebody else. And, I'm pretty shy. Oddly enough, I know I don't always seem it, but I can be really shy, especially when everything is new. So, I can see, trying to warm up to things, but eating, I'm not shy about that. I like food. It's good. I can point. The guy, I like the fact that the chef was like, girl, I know English, right?
Right.
Everyone in France knows English. We're not dumb.
Yes. I work at an American school.
Yeah. So, did you feel that this was a realistic book?
I did. Well, let's see. Yes, I think I did on the whole. Like, there were some, I don't know, just it being in Paris and all the Parisian stuff made it feel a little magical in a way, but I felt like the characters pretty much rang true to me. There are a couple things, like it was difficult for me to believe that Bridget would have let Anna come back without letting her know up front that, because she's going to the show, and Topher's a freaking idiot who's just going to blurt something out.
Which is exactly what he did.
Man, that trip home went south real quick.
Yeah. Well, at least she had, she had the ability to call St. Clair, so they got even closer over Christmas break.
You know who I would be kind of interested in hearing the story of that evening? Who's from? Wait, how can I make this sentence make sense? I would be interested in hearing the story told from another person's point of view, which would be like Matt. Like,
oh, I would love to hear it from Matt. Like, so I picked my ex-girlfriend up for this show, and
it was kind of awkward. Seemed like there was some tension between her and my current girlfriend.
But then so everyone was dancing, and then she found out that this guy and this girl were together, and then I had to take her home, but she was on the phone with another guy the whole time.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to just, like, be her friend, and she was really spacey. But I guess I felt a lot of this was really realistic for high school, because I think sometimes high school students are written to be a little bit, you know, wise beyond their years. But I think this was sort of very realistically doofy.
Yeah.
People aren't saying what they're thinking, or they're not talking about their feelings in that way. They're sort of trying to make everybody else feel good rather than just saying, you know, saying things up front. Like, if he had said, look, I've got a girlfriend, but I'm really attracted to you, or something, or she was upfront about things, I think, again, this probably would have been a much shorter book. But I feel like because they weren't, because everything, you know, they're still in high school, they're still sort of figuring out how relationships work and how to talk to boys. Mm-hmm. You know, especially, you know, someone like Anna, who is really inexperienced in a lot of ways. I felt it was really realistic, you know, the whole, like, friends fight sometimes, but then they make up. It's not, you know, it's not the end of the world. I felt like a lot of that was realistic. I also thought, you know, the parents were written fairly realistically. Of course, you know, her dad was not the most realistic character overall, but, I mean, he's still based on a true story. So I think that a lot of that was realistic, with that little bit of magic put in there because they're in Paris, because they're in Paris.
Right.
But every time I read this book, and I've probably read it, you know, 7 or 8 times by now, you know, I'm sort of struck by how I can see myself making those same mistakes when I was that age. I could see myself sort of bumbling around love in the way they do, just because it's hard. It's hard being a teenager, and it's hard, you know, it's hard falling in love. And I think that that's why this book feels so realistic to me, is that because it's not easy.
Yeah, I agree absolutely. Yeah. And another thing that I kind of liked about it is that you know, St. Clair's father is basically a monster, but you can also kind of see, like, you can see elements of him in St. Clair. Like, St. Clair, I think one of the reasons why he doesn't go after Anna more than he does is because he doesn't want to be like his father, who, you know, has mistresses in Paris and London. And
still married to the mom.
Yeah, that's right. And, you know, like it's said many times that St. Clair, you know, can basically get away with anything because he's suave and attractive, you know, and people just let him do whatever he wants, more or less. And his father is the same way. You know, his father can also get away with things and has kind of a similar affect from the couple times we actually get to experience him in person. But St. Clair is, you know, doesn't want to abuse that too much. And that's a thing I like. And you can also, I feel like, you know, Anna talks about how her dad is also kind of a neat freak. Like, I kind of like how you could see aspects of the parents' personalities that are kind of reflected in the kids.
Yeah.
I liked that a lot.
Which is so different than Shiver, where the parents were just absent.
Yeah, the parents might as well have not existed. Yeah. They replaced their daughter with a cat.
Yeah. Oh, Anna. Oh, this book. There's so many. It's so hard to say. Like, there's so many things about this book that, of course, you find out later. He buys her the book of poetry, and he keeps saying, so did you read the book of poetry? Did you read it? She's like, no, I haven't read it.
Read the damn book. Like,
maybe that's a good idea. Maybe there's a hint. Oh, and there was. Surprise, surprise, there's a hint. And, we find out later, from minute one, he was, angling to get close to her from, asking for a pencil in science class so they could be partners or things like that, which is super cute. But I was just like, girl, read the book. It's all about passion and boning. Read the book.
Yeah, I did think that she might have looked through that book a little sooner.
Yeah. But, of course, if she had, then, the book would have been another 100 pages shorter.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I liked the suspense. I liked, sort of, as a reader, knowing that book meant something more, knowing a lot of what they were both doing meant something more. I mean, he wasn't getting into her bed over Thanksgiving because he didn't want to go back to his room. He wanted to snuggle up.
Yep. And so did she. But
they were both clothed, and, him saying, oh, I had the best night's sleep in so long, I guess I'm going to have to sleep here tomorrow night.
Mm-hmm. Well, that was her second wish.
Yeah.
So many things in this book are cute.
Yeah, it's really a cute book. It's sweet. I love it. It's so sweet. It's so romantical.
Like, when they are going to sleep in the same bed, he asks if she minds if he takes his belt off because it's uncomfortable. And she's like, sure, okay. And then he's like, well, would it be weird if I... And she's like, no.
Not weird. Do whatever you need to do.
He's like, no, not my pants. Anyway.
Why not? I love that she wants to be a movie critic.
Mm-hmm.
And she watches all these movies, but she sort of has really shitty taste in movies. Like, she goes to the movies all the time, and she sees everything, and she, from Texas Chainsaw Massacre to... Roman Holiday, which is great, but her favorite movie is Lost in Translation.
Oh, yeah.
Really, girl? I mean, okay, that was probably just her being a teenager and her being a little immature, but I was like, is this just convenience, or do you really like Sofia Coppola that much? Because, girl, no.
Well...
I have a critique of you. Do not do that.
Fair enough. Although I mean, Lost in Translation has a certain resonance to her own situation, right? It
does. I mean, of course. But,
yeah.
I mean, if you're going to be a movie critic, you have to be able to, or that that's kind of a shit movie. I like it. I do. I'm gonna own it. I like the movie, but it's shit.
Oh my God, you're really sticking it to Lost in Translation. Let's get into this.
Sorry, y'all. That has nothing to do with Anna and the French kiss.
This is another thing, in the first chapter that I was talking about earlier, where it's one of the things she says is she's like, oh, and I really like movies, and I have a website where I review them. And at that time, my reaction is like, yeah, sure. Okay. That sounds lovely. I'm sure that's a great website. But then when she actually discovers the movie houses in Paris, it just seems like her joy is just so genuine, and she just seems to be so into it. It's really charming. And that's one of the other ways where I feel like, starting the book that way and then having it kind of flip in that way, I really like.
Yeah, I think, the fact that she, especially, she had favorite movie houses and she went all the time. It's not like, some people who are like, oh yeah, I like the movies. I'll, go once. She went 3 movies a night, 4 nights a week.
Yeah.
I mean, she was really into it. And, of course she made the movie houses in Paris just sound so amazing where I'm like, okay, gotta go find the one with the Basset Hound.
Oh, Basset Hounds.
Yeah. What was the Basset Hound's name? Pouse? Anyway, I loved him.
Yeah.
Pouce. I'm not sure how to pronounce it.
I'm not either.
Love that Basset Hound.
Yeah. You recently saw a hot dog parade, didn't you?
That's actually tomorrow. I can't wait.
Oh, that's tomorrow.
Yeah. So in my town, once a year, they have a Wiener Dog Day. You've been, but let me describe this to other people who may be listening. Fuck y'all. It's awesome. So all these people in town just all happen to have wiener dogs. I don't know, maybe my town is the wiener dog capital of the world. I really have no idea. But they get all their little dachshunds onto the lawn of our co-op market, which, I mean, it's sort of weird that a supermarket is, the center of town, but it really is. Everyone goes and hangs out on the lawn all the time, and hippies do hippie things. But once a year, when all the dachshunds descend with their owners, all dressed up and, wearing wiener dog costumes, often dressed like hot dogs, they have a parade. And not only do they have a parade, they also have like little challenge courses where they have to run around the sticks and then jump over the hurdles. And the hurdles are like 3 inches off the ground, y'all. It's awesome. And then after that, they have what's one of the weirdest things in the world. They have a hot dog eating contest for the hot dogs, which is kind of fucked up. If you think about it, you're like, hey, hot dog, would you like to eat a hot dog? So they put the hot dogs in water, and then all the dogs have to eat it in a certain amount of time. So it's hilarious. I don't have a dog. I don't have a dachshund. I will go and just be like sitting there. It's like, dogs are cool. Little dogs are hilarious. This is the best day ever. So yeah, that's tomorrow, and I can't fucking wait.
Yeah, I remember when I went with you, there were a bunch of the dogs where, when they got to the hurdles, we're just like, why am I jumping out? Can't I just run around it? It seems easier.
Yeah. A lot of them just were like, no, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to go around. Can I go under? Under is a possibility. But going over, not a fan. They're like, did you see my legs? They're like a half inch tall. I am short. The only person shorter than me is Etienne St. Clair.
That's right.
And that's it. I love Wiener Dog Day. It's going to be so awesome. Oh my God, yeah. So when I found out that Wiener Dog Day was coming up, I had to make an announcement to the internets and say, if y'all aren't there, you're dumb, because this is so cool. So if anyone wants to come into my town and you don't know where I live, figure it out. Stalk me and come to Wiener Dog Day. It's going to be awesome.
Excellent.
Yay! Let's get back to the book. So then we've talked about Anna Oliphant or Banana Elephant.
Oh, yes. Banana Elephant at FomFilmFreak.net.
Yeah.
Which I looked up. That website doesn't exist.
That should exist. That's a bummer. So what I looked up was the School of America in Paris, and that does not exist. And I was really bummed because I was hoping to find... what do you call it? A time machine. I was hoping to find a time machine, go back in time, go to high school in Paris for my senior year, and find fictional characters to be BFFs and fall in love with. Sorry, husband of mine. It doesn't exist.
So Anna's dad is basically Nicholas Sparks.
Which is amazing.
Isn't it, though?
It really is. So her dad tried to be a real serious writer, and then figured out, hey, if I write some schlock about lovers dying of cancer, I can make a shit ton of cash. And that's exactly what he did. So he decided that he was going to send his only daughter to Paris for the year on his cancer book money.
Yeah. But you notice that this book is kind of one of those books in a way.
I mean, it is, but it's not, because It's not. Shut up. It's not.
Sorry.
It's perfect. Everything about it is perfect. I hate you. Go lay down.
Oh.
So, I disagree.
Okay.
Because, not only... Okay, so the mother, Etienne St. Clair's mother, Susan, gets cancer. And that's the reason why he stays inside and withdraws, and she needs to get him out of his room when it's over Thanksgiving break, because neither of them could go home. For her, it's just, I can't go home. I don't remember what the reason was. I think she just wasn't planning to go home. And for him, his dad is really controlling and decided, oh, you got detention or your grades are slipping, or one of those two. So
yeah, it was his grades were slipping because he wasn't going to class as much.
Because he was sad about his mom. So his dad said, oh, as a punishment, you can't come home and see your mom. Ha ha, I'm an asshole.
He might as well have said that.
So The mom gets better, though. So the mom is, by the end of the book, not cured, but the cancer's gone, and she has to get checked every 3 months. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't end the same way where, it's a Nicholas Sparks novel and, Etienne and Anna are walking down the aisle and then Etienne dies and she has to mourn that for the rest of her life or so. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not a tearjerker in that same way.
So it's not a tearjerker. I cried not once in this book. There's no Nicholas Sparksisms. I disagree with your assessment wholeheartedly is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Sure, there's cancer, but I mean, even in the book, she's like, oh, fuck. I just told Etienne about my dad's books, and he's reading the back of the book, and, I feel like shit now.
Yeah.
So she even acknowledges, the whole parallel, and it is then ignored because it is not a parallel, because the mother is fine.
Right, because this book is good.
Because this book is good and not written by an orange man with really, really bleached teeth.
I saw The Time Traveler's Wife as a movie. I haven't read any of his books.
It's a her, and you should read it. Time Traveler's Wife is not written by Nicholas Sparks.
Oh, it's not?
No, it's a good book.
Oh, okay.
He's The Notebook and, I don't know, something else about, like, dead girl about to get married or dying girl about to get married before, she kicks it.
I was going to say, I searched for information about him online, as you do, and I found a news story in Variety with the headline, Nicholas Sparks' The Choice trailer promises romance puppies. Puppies.
Dead puppies? I don't think it's a...
Puppies with cancer.
Puppies with cancer, of course.
Oh.
I know. Sorry, puppies. We just murdered you in our imaginations. That's not nice. So her dad's a shithead. His dad's a shithead.
Right.
Their friends are cool. They've got Bridget, who's her friend, back home, and she ends up having a fallout with her over Toph.
Right. I felt like you kind of knew that was going to happen.
I kind of knew that was going to happen, too. He wasn't waiting for her, and then Bridget became a drummer in his band. Like, it's obvious that she's going to go home, and he's not going to be available anymore.
Right.
So that frees her up for a certain someone.
It does. Let me ask you a question about Toph.
Yeah.
Do you remember when you first thought, this guy seems like kind of a jerk?
Minute 1.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, he was just I don't know, he was just a chode. I mean, maybe it's when he called her. I don't know. How about you?
For me, it was when Anna mentioned that he often misses work without calling in.
Oh, that's not cool. You don't do that.
Stay away from that guy, Anna. That guy is not right for you.
That guy is obviously trouble. What a chode. I don't approve. That's just not cool. You don't do that to people.
Yeah.
But Anna will take it, I guess, because he's cute.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I guess he wasn't written to be likable, so I don't think I liked him from minute 1, just because he's not the French kiss. Etienne is. And so obviously, we've alluded to this, but at the end, Anna and Etienne, they get together. He breaks up with his girlfriend, and the magic finally happens, and they get together. And she's going to college in California, and he tricks his dad into sending him also to college in California. So they don't break up when they leave France, which is lovely. I think Stephanie Perkins, the writer, actually married her high school sweetheart. So I think that's one of the reasons when she writes these books, like, the high school sweetheart is the love of one's life. So I think that was true for her. And so I think Anna has met the love of her life, and they are going to California together and living happily ever after, ?
Mm-hmm. They have some troubles. They have some problems to get through, but we are hopeful for them. Is Jared her husband? That's who the book is dedicated to.
I think so. Let me double check. I will just Google that.
Sure.
Do. Yep. My best friend is my husband, Jared.
Yeah. That's it says for Jared, best friend and true love.
That's really sweet.
It's pretty sweet.
So yeah, she was born in South Carolina, raised in Arizona, attended college in San Francisco and Atlanta, and now she lives in the mountains of Asheville, North Carolina, which means, of course, I have to go find her and stalk her.
Sure. Well,
yeah.
I'll see if I can get her address.
Thank you. Hi, Stephanie Perkins. Have you written a fourth book for me? So she has two other books. There's the second book, which is Lola and the Boy Next Door.
Mm-hmm.
And that is a standalone book. However, it is connected to Anna and the French Kiss. And there's a third book. I'm not going to give you the title, but I'm going to ask you if you could guess who in the first book may be the main characters in the third book.
Is it Meredith?
It is not.
Oh, I got it wrong. Is it Bridge?
Nope. It happens in France.
Oh, okay.
So there's a hint for you. So everyone else has graduated.
Ah.
Any ideas? Any ideas?
So it's Josh?
It's Josh, but who's the girl? She alluded to it very briefly that I only caught after I read the third book because I didn't know the title of the third book until almost right before it came out. I tried to avoid it.
Oh, I have no idea.
She mentioned towards the end, there was a class that she was in, and there was a girl who was doodling, and she was doodling Josh's tattoo.
Ah.
That was Isla, who was also the girl who stood up for her after she had punched Amanda. So I like the fact that the books are connected in that way. You know, we get to go back to France. We get to see what happens with Josh.
Mm-hmm.
We get this, barely, minor character in the first book who gets her own book later. And I think that's really well thought out. Even in the first book, we sort of have a vision of what the third book is, because not until it came out did I realize, oh, this girl that we had never heard of before in this novel is doodling this guy's tattoo. I wouldn't have thought, oh, that's the third book. But it is, and I love that. And I love Stephanie Perkins, and I love Anna and the French Kiss, and I love Paris, and I've never been there. And I want to get a time machine, like I said, go back in time and go to high school there, because it sounds awesome.
Sounds pretty great.
I also need a lot of money. It's certain.
Well.
Yeah, that's the problem. A lot of money.
Well, I appreciate you kind of walking me through the solution to that little puzzle.
Sorry.
That's good. Can we talk about Josh's tattoo?
Yes, we can.
The skull and crossbones.
Yeah.
Now,
skull and crossbones. Way to go, Josh.
All right, I don't have anything else to say about that. But you, as someone who has tattoos.
I am someone who has tattoos. That is true. I have a lot of them, and none of them are skull and crossbones. And I am not artistic, so maybe if I were, I would have chosen something a little more cliched.
Yeah.
Oh, there I said it. Josh, it's cliched. But, I mean, that's what happens when you get a tattoo when you're 16 or 17.
Yeah. Is there anything else we should say about the book?
It's good. You should read it.
Yes.
And when you're done reading that, read Lola and the Boy Next Door and Isla and the Happily Ever After. Read it, read it, read it. If you don't read it, you're not my BFF. If you don't love it, you're definitely not my BFF. So I have a YA book club that I organize in my town. And so far, this is the only book that we have read so far that every single member who attended that meeting loved. Mm-hmm. So it is a universal crowd pleaser. Read it.
So the next book we're going to read is The Golden Compass by Philip Pullman, 1995.
So this book was actually my reintroduction to YA. I was living in Providence at the time, and I was working for a large, well-known university.
That one of the characters in Anna and the French Kiss ends up going to.
It's true, she does. Rashmi ends up going to a specific school in Providence that people may or may not have heard of.
To study Egyptology.
Egyptology, yeah! Oh, dude! Huh. Anyway, that's just tied it back into mummies is what we're doing.
That's what we're doing.
So this book was recommended to me by a friend who had a fairly young teenage son at the time. And he was like, you would really like this book. And mostly it's because I'm an atheist.
Sure.
And he said, you know what, I think you would really like this book. You like to read, because I read a lot. I still obviously do. And I remember reading this book and just being like, oh my God, I need to read the second book immediately. And then I read the second book, and then I read the third book. And then I finished the third book on my lunch break at work in my car and was just sobbing because it was that good. So I'm really excited to revisit it. We read it not that long ago in book club. Mm-hmm. Read it maybe a year or so ago. And then we watched the movie. Have you seen the movie?
I haven't seen the movie.
It's so bad. The book is so good, and I'm really excited to discuss it with you. It's very different than Anna and the French Kiss. It's very different than most of the YA books that we've read. It's very well thought out. It's very detailed, and it's really the book that got me back into YA. So I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah, that's going to be fun to talk about.
I'm sorry, I've been just babbling today. Maybe I've had too much caffeine.
Impossible. So I have a couple of emails from people.
Oh, yay!
If people want to write to us and probably have their messages read on air, is that what you say about podcasts? I don't know. You can write to podcast at loveyalikecrazy.com. And yeah, you can also find us on Facebook, and then we're on Twitter at loveyapod. No, it's just that. At Love YA Pod. So,
okay.
All right. So I have a couple of messages. So Sarah Redacted writes, Dear Jake and Carrie, the Truffle Song is my new favorite song. Can we expect more song collaborations from you in the near future?
Oh, I hope so. What do you think?
Well, I would love to. That was the most fun.
Yeah, I had a blast. I think, if we were to write another song, hopefully it's about a topic that isn't so silly as truffles, or is as silly as truffles but isn't written by a teenage werewolf. Yeah, that was a blast. So absolutely Sarah Redacted. I'm sorry, I will always call you Sarah Redacted or whomever Redacted because I think that's funny.
Good. That's why I do it. Yes. All right. Yeah. So that's a yes from both of us. So if we'll just keep an eye out for an opportunity where we can do that, and it makes sense.
Yeah. Maybe not in Golden Compass.
So a friend of ours, Craig Redacted, wrote an email which I think was not really intended, but I'm going to read it anyway.
Yay!
Because that's how I roll. And so basically what this is a comedian I follow online, Emily Heller on Twitter, is always very excited when Burning Man comes around because afterwards you can look on Craigslist for Burning Man missed connections, which are the best. Seriously, the best. So Craig wrote a little missed connections for us. Oh, maybe you should read this. Do you have it handy? Or can I email it to you?
Yeah, email it to me.
All right.
Okay. The internet is a beautiful thing. Things are instantaneous.
This made me laugh so much.
I can't wait. Come on, internet. Did you send it? Did you send it?
No, I'm pasting it as we speak.
Damn it! I'm waiting.
Sorry.
Refresh.
Oh my God. All this is going into the episode, by the way. All right, I sent it. Hopefully to the right person.
Here it is. Oh, this is glorious. Oh my God. You stood out from the rest of the pack. W for WW, Mercy Falls. You were the one who saved me. With my life devoid of meaningful connections, I felt like a small red spot of worm growing cold in the snow. Bodies surrounded me, tearing at my clothes, pressing in, but they all meant nothing to me. I just lay there, watching the blank sky above me. I could have done something, but I didn't. Then I saw you, your strong jaw, your thick hair. Your musky scent of wet dog and burning leaves. So pleasant and terrifying. Your eyes are mesmerizing, a mix of hazel and gold, every shade. I stared into your eyes as long as I could, and you held my gaze. But then you were gone. And something in my chest fluttered, and I passed out. Now I sit in my backyard and read, but I'm daydreaming of you. Imagining your return. Please come back into my life. I want to remember what it feels like to be warm again. Oh my God, that's beautiful.
That's
I
great.
tried to not laugh through it. I tried. Oh, but that's hilarious. Thank you, Craig Redacted.
Yeah,
Thank
that's excellent.
you. Do you want to collaborate on a mommy book with me? It's gonna be bad.
All right, so I have something here from Jake Redacted. I'm not sure why I redacted my last name. So this is actually just a question from me to you. I've noticed that almost all of the books and all the ones written in this century that we've been talking about are written in the first person. What's that about?
That's a good question. Teenagers are self-centered?
Fair enough.
That's my answer.
More so than adults?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure why they're the first person. I think it's easy to write that way, especially, I think especially for YA, which does tend to be, a little more self-centered, maybe a little more introspective. But also maybe it's just easy. Maybe it's more fun. Maybe it's more modern. But teenagers are self-centered.
Okay.
In a way that's different than adults. So that's my answer. What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's a way to get you to identify with the narrator. Like, if it's in the third person, there's a certain distance there just from the language. Whereas if it's in the first person, then you think of it as if it's you, maybe.
Yeah.
Have you ever read a book that's in the second person?
No. I've read short stories that were in the second person. It's always very awkward.
Yeah.
The second person always reads like a how-to manual.
Yeah, that's true.
So, there's a couple of short stories. One is called, I think, How to Be the Other Woman, maybe, which is written in second person, but it is a literal how-to manual because it's hard to do second person and have it be fiction.
Yeah.
Because it's so clinical. But that's my own personal opinion. I am not an expert in any way, shape, or form, but that's what I got.
Right.
So maybe next week there'll be a question from Carrie Redacted. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that'd be great. This segment is also Jake puts Carrie on the spot. So
which is fine.
If you want to give a little back, that's fine.
I don't think I've got any questions for you right now other than, this book was awesome, right?
Right. We're still friends.
We're still friends. And that, like I said, I've sort of used this book as a test now. Like, do you like this book? No? Well, then I'm not sure we can be friends anymore because it's perfect. Mm-hmm. And I don't like romance. I don't like romantical books. This is very unusual for me, but anything written by this woman, I will devour. I will put... It like open up my chest, just shove it into my heart. It will be really good. So let's talk about other stuff. Do we need to wrap this up now?
Yeah, I think we might as well. So if anyone out there has anything that they want us to talk about, you can write to podcast@loveyalikecrazy.com, which is also the name of this podcast. Love You Like Crazy. And we do.
And if there's any books you want us to talk about at any point, let me know. It doesn't always have to be my idea.
Sure.
I do have a lot of books that I've read, but if anyone else has anything that they want to read, I know this next book is Jacob's suggestion, so I'm really excited about it. But often it's just like, I read a lot of YA. Would you like to talk about that? But I'm happy to expand my repertoire and read something that you really love, you as in Jacob or you as in anyone listening. Just let's talk about it.
All right. Well, thanks to the Sentimental Favorites for letting us use their song Hey There for our theme. And there's probably lots of stuff I'm forgetting, but oh well. I think that's pretty good. Thanks for talking to me, Carrie. It's always great.
Yay! It's always so good. I'm so glad that you're alive.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you're alive too. The world is a richer place. And thank you for introducing me to this book, which was great. Bye.
Bye.
Give me a call when you get back. Hey there.
Hey.
loveyalikecrazy.com